Will you please be seated? Our meeting of October 26th is now starting. We call the meeting to order. And for our invocation tonight, we will be led by Tina Pibule from the Children's Pastor from New Life Community Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Girl Scout Troop 529. Will you please rise?
Dear God, we gather here today as a council seeking wisdom, guidance, and harmony in the decision-making process. We come together with open hearts and open minds, recognizing the importance of the work we do and the impact it has on the well-being of our community. In this moment, we invoke your presence to illuminate the path and inspire the discussions. Grant this council the ability to listen attentively, to speak with clarity and compassion, and to consider the diverse perspectives that surround the table. May their decisions be guided by justice, fairness, and integrity, always striving for the betterment and progress of those they serve. Help them use this gathering to strengthen the bonds of collaboration and unity amongst council members and within our larger community. As they embark on this council meeting, I ask for your blessings upon them, filling their hearts with wisdom, courage, and empathy. May their deliberations be productive, and may the outcomes contribute to the greater good of all. With gratitude, we invoke your presence and guidance. Amen.
Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Girl Scout Troop, and also Pastor. May we have a roll call, please?
Council and Agency Member Johnson.
Present.
Council and Agency Member Vo.
Present.
Council Agency Member Yokoyama.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chair Solanki.
Present.
Mayor and Chair Barrows.
Present. Okay, our next section is presentations and appointments. We'll do our presentation first, which is the recognition of the Filipino American History Month. And on September 29th of 2023, Congresswoman Michelle Still submitted House Resolution 744, which was referred to the Committee on Oversight and Accountability. It recognizes the month of October 2023 as the Filipino American History Month and celebrates the history and culture of the Filipino Americans and their immense contributions to the United States. The community is the third largest Asian American Pacific Islander group within the United States, with a population of approximately 4.5 million. According to the 2021 American Community Survey, the Filipino community is the largest of the Asian communities within the city of Cerritos. From the Civil War to the Iraq and Afghanistan conflicts, Filipinos and Filipino Americans have a long history of serving in the United States Armed Forces. They have received the Congressional Medal of Honor, the highest award for valor in action against the enemy forces. Excuse me a second. That may be bestowed upon an individual serving in the armed forces, and continues to demonstrate a commendable sense of patriotism and honor in our armed forces. They have played an integral role in the healthcare system of the United States as nurses, doctors, first responders, and other medical professionals. And approximately 1 in 4 working Filipinos, adults in the United States, is a frontline healthcare worker. In 2009, Congress first recognized October as a Filipino American History Month for their many contributions, including music, dance, literature, education, business, hospitality, journalism, sports, fashion, politics, government, science, technology, the fine arts, and other fields that enrich our country. For the many contributions of Filipinos and Filipino Americans, it's fitting that we follow with we join with our nation in celebrating the month of October as Filipino American History Month and honor our local Filipino community members. Accepting the communication, the proclamation from on behalf of the Filipino community is Ms. Helen Rodriguez Swing, President of the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Cerritos, Mr. Lee Natividad, Vice Chair of the Cerritos Chamber of Commerce, and Ms. Caitlin Casica, President of the Cerritos High School Club. Will you please join me over here to my right?
She's on her way. What did you say? Ellen Swing is on her way. Okay. Come on up.
And I'm going to ask my colleagues to join me at the same time. Thank you. And you must be Caitlin. Yes, okay. And on behalf of the City Council, I'd like to present you with the proclamation. And Mark?
Yes.
So if you could both join me right here in the very center. Okay. Room. Would you like to say anything?
Oh,
Sure you do, right?
You're going to wait all this. Let us know who's here with you from Club Makaisa.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Casica. I'm the president of Club Makaisa, and I'm here with Vice President Madeline Jean Miranda and our publicist Rafael Ariola. And our club aims to provide a sense of belonging to students at Cerritos High School and provide them with the opportunity to learn more about Filipino culture and its customs and practices. Thank you.
My name is Mark Alipio from the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce. I'm also the ambassador's chair person for the organization, and thank you for making this happen for all of us. I think this is a good representation for not only the community but also the business community.
Well, thank you. We're pleased to recognize the Filipino community and their many contributions.
Everybody, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I know there are other community leaders on Filipino, our former mayor, and can we call all of them to take a group picture?
Sure. Would the rest of you like to come up also?
Come on, Mark.
One way down.
Thank you, Naresh. Great idea.
Okay, for this photo, can you get you guys to step down lower and we have them join you?
Bobby, let's go. Come on, Bobby.
Get you squeeze over a little more.
Yes, yes, perfect. There's perfect.
Go stand next to Kate.
Everybody, let's keep moving. We got a lot of people here. Let's keep moving. There we go. I'm not going to move.
Oh my God.
No, I asked her.
Ikaw talaga, oh.
Start sideways.
You guys all in?
Come on in. Make sure they can see you.
All right, everybody right over here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. And 1, 2, and 3. Excellent. Thank you.
Congratulations.
It's good to see you.
Thanks for showing up. She wants the representative.
What is somebody else just go?
Yeah. The president of the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Cerritos just walked in. Can the city council take a picture with the president of the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Cerritos?
Ellen,
Feel free to announce it.
You want to announce it first?
Why don't you go ahead
It's
and
this
announce
name
it?
right
No,
here.
just right here. Ellen Rodriguez.
She just showed it.
Okay, I've just been informed that Ms. Ellen Rodriguez Swing, the president of the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce, just arrived, so we'll have a photo op with her very quickly.
I'm very honored to meet you. Oh, I think you should be in the middle.
No, you're in the middle.
Oh, okay.
You're the person. Would you say something?
Well, I'm very honored to be here, first of all. And it's truly an honor because this is the first time that I'll be here in front of the city officials, the revered city officials. Tomorrow is actually our induction. This is our first term. And it's at Sheraton Cerritos Hotel. Very, very honored that I am part of the biggest Asian American group, and third actually. This proclamation is actually an honor for all Filipinos that are here. So Thank you.
How about we have
Yeah, I
you guys
guess
step
we'll
down a little
down.
bit
Yep.
so we can get everybody in. Okay. Okay, once again. Go ahead and spread out here a little bit.
Excellent. All right, everybody right over here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, and 3. Excellent.
Thank you. Next time. Make time for that. Next time. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Let him come up here.
You can take the seat over there.
Do whatever you want.
Okay, next on our agenda is 5B, which is the City Council recognition of City Manager Art Kuchi. As this is your final City Council meeting after 51 years, and how many numbers?
52 years I've had the opportunity to serve the city of Cerritos, and I thank the council for allowing me to have that.
Okay, but how many meetings have you attended during those 52?
We've had 25 mayors, and we've had 1,400 city council meetings that I've attended with the council over the past years.
And I know you. Art, I'm going to have you come up in just a second. I'd like to start off first by saying thank you. I've known you for almost the whole time I lived here in the city. And working with you has been an honor on my part. I've had more businesses than I can even remember that have spoken so highly of our city and the things that we've accomplished. And the part that I know is none of that would have happened without having you here. You look at a project that requires a dedicated staff to see things through, but without a very effective leader that you've been, those things wouldn't have happened. And most people don't know is Art's one of his early projects was the reclamation, for the water reclamation that we have. And conference mayors asked me to do a presentation on it. And the conference mayors does not warrant anybody to speak but the mayor. So we went to New Orleans, and I drug Art along with me, and I convinced the mayor in charge that it'd be a lot better to hear from the guy that oversaw the project than someone that just knows about it. And from that, Joanne, I don't know if Art shared this with you, but he had 2 job offers after that presentation. One was in the Midwest, and I forgot where the other one was. But Art politely declined. He said he didn't want to get a divorce right away. But I've heard many people say that our staff, they would love to have any one of our staff members, but Art has not only represented the city well, but if you look at the long list of projects that we have, it's something. It's really an honor on my part. I'm sure the rest of the council feels the same thing to represent the city, because we've done very, very well. But Art, if I can get you to join me over here in front of our new backdrop, and I'm going to have council come up right away and join Art too.
We'll wait until we do this. And then
We'll add all
we'll
of
bring
them
it
as we.
later.
Art, not that you need a proclamation, but we do have one for you. And, you know, you started in the city and, you know, since 1971. I know that when I was first elected in 1994, the outgoing council member on term limits said, it's sorry that, I was elected after everything was done in the city. And I know from 1971 until now, there's been a lot of changes. And some of those, saw you as served 10 years as the appointed assistant city manager before you became city manager. And with that, the part that I knew from when I was on the planning commission, your reputation was really to serve as our top negotiator. And, from that, I think you learned how to, run this city in a way that very few city managers ever have accomplished things. So, your initial responsibilities were the Auto Square, the Town Center, and Lincoln's, shopping center, like Lincoln Station. And you've been active in the development of all of our city parks. In fact, you were hired to serve, in the what was then known as the Leisure Services Division for, our parks and recs. So we start off with that, and you start with the Olympic pool, the fitness center, the Cerritos Library, the Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts, our Cerritos Senior Center, our Pat Nixon Park, the Sheriff's Station, Community Safety Center, and many other major projects. But on behalf of the City Council, I do want to present you with this proclamation in recognition of all the years of service you've given to us. Art, we're going to have Joanne join us also.
Hello.
Now, Joanne, this is a recognition of the fact that you gave a lot of years also, having him away from you.
Oh, it was my pleasure to share them.
All right, everybody, right over here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. And I'm gonna have the proclamation kind of flipped up a little. There we go. Yeah. Excellent. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. And one more, please. 1, 2, and thank you.
How about the rest of the family? Can you get the rest of the family now?
Just 1 second. We have one more thing to give you. We have a proclamation from our Assemblywoman.
Actually, the real proclamation that's about twice as large as this one is on its way from Sacramento for November 15th. But I didn't want to miss the chance to take a picture with Mr. Galucci because I'll be in Korea when he was getting retirement ceremony. So at this time, I'd like to just present this certificate of recognition to City Manager Art Kuchi. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming Thank you.
All right, everybody, right over here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do a couple more on the camera here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, and 3. Excellent. Thank you.
Art, just 1 second before we get your family up. Sherry, can I get you to come up to present this?
Oh God, I hope I get through this, but this guy served as the Leisure Services Superintendent when he first started with the city of Cerritos, and in epic fashion. This is what the uniform for the youth sports leagues used to look like. And on the front is the city seal. And we decided we would put city manager underneath. It used to say City of Cerritos and Leisure Services. And then, of course, Galucci 71. So this is really from the council. And it's in honor of your amazing service and friendship, really. And as a former resident, I kind of live here still because I spend a lot of time here. I sleep in La Habra, but someone who was a benefactor of all of your ideas and all of your leadership, thank you. And you will be missed.
Three, and one more, 1, 2, and 3. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Sherry, you know, I had you up here for a reason. That's because of Leisure Services, where Art started. It just, to me, it's appropriate to have you, you know, come back for that reason. Art, would you like to share anything? And I think we should call your family up before we do. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can even, so I didn't join. You guys want to get down there?
Can we get one right over here?
You guys are family.
Sure, you can get him, sure.
This is joking. When I said let him go anywhere he wants.
It's okay, I think they went for a walk. Who's looking for Papa?
We're on their time. Take this time.
You guys just want me to take a couple?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sure. A couple $100 an hour.
All right, everyone, right over here real quick. We'll take a couple while we wait. All right, right over here, please. Excellent. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Take a couple.
There they come.
Here we go. Excellent. That was a practice.
Yay!
He's looking up.
No.
You guys just take it when you can. He's looking.
Everybody right over here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Take a couple more. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Excellent. Thank you.
Do a family
Yeah, do a family on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This man goes to council speak or give his response to us.
Why don't we speak about the guidance?
Have you speak right from the dais.
All right, everybody, right over here. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. All right, over here, guys. 1, 2, 3. Do a couple more. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, and 3. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Art, no, we'll let you sit down, you know. We're gonna let the council speak first, and then we'll have you, you know, respond. Okay, Art, before you have a chance to speak, we'll have, you know, council speak. And Frank, if you don't mind, I'll start with you for comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Well, I'm planning on saying some things at your party, okay, Art? But I just wanted to thank you from day one back in 2017 with all your support and help in helping me become the council member that I am, serving the city with your mentorship and leadership, and you are here in the Cerritos City Council. You are my father figure. So thank you. And I remember sitting with you in your office talking about ways to serve the city, ways to serve the city of Cerritos in the big picture, in our region, in our state. And because of you, and you and I have talked about this multiple times, because of you, I am involved in the Southern California Association of Government. I am because of your pushing me and prodding me to get more involved in these regional and state organizations. So and national organizations. So Art, thank you. Again, I'm like I said, you've done the world. You've done the world for the city of Cerritos, and I look forward to celebrating with you at your party. Thank you, Art.
Linda?
So Art, I am the newest council member, and I didn't have the pleasure of working as long as my other colleagues have worked with you, but I did work with you in another capacity as the field deputy for Supervisor Janice Hahn, and that's when I first started working with you. And you know, you're just so well respected in the area, in the county, and in the region. I'm not supposed to play favorites with my cities, but certainly Cerritos was my favorite, not because I am a resident, but because of what you have made Cerritos and what it is today. And I thank you for that as a resident, as a council member, for bringing your vision here to Cerritos and making us all proud to live here. And I thank you for that. I'm going to dearly miss you. Who's going to take care of me? Art always takes care of me. And even with my hat, my cowboy hat is always on backwards, and Art would take care of me, say, you got your hat on backwards, turn it around. So I'm going to miss that. You tell me when to go on vacation, when not to go on vacation, because you always said it's not a good time, don't go. But I'm going to miss that. So I hope you're going to stay in touch with us. Leela and I are going to miss you. But I have more to say too also on your other night, your going away party. you know I love you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Linda. Chung?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, Art, it's that time. And I have to say, you know, I truly appreciate your leadership. You're not just a leader, but you're an example of how to lead. You led with compassion, heart, and experience that no one else will ever have at your level. You are truly a huge icon for this city. You are Mr. Cerritos, as far as I'm concerned. You've done way more than anyone's ever asked of you or needed you to do. You've gone beyond that. And while we were up here, I heard your granddaughter say, "Bye, Papa." Well, guess what? He's going to see a lot more of you now because he's going to have a lot of time, you know, with a big smile right there. And I'm jealous that you'll get to see more of him because we all know, Art, that this city is your second family. And you're here day in and day out on the weekends. You drive around in the city on the weekends just to see things, just to make sure there's no problems. I bumped into you because I do the same thing. And, you know, it's nonstop with you. This city is in your blood. You live it, you breathe it. It's something that I've never, ever experienced with any leader, the passion you have for us in the city, and it'll be truly missed. And the byproduct of your leadership, it's not just what we see in front of us, but you're the reason, and I didn't know it at the time, you're the reason why I'm here in this city. When I drove through Cerritos looking for my first house as a young adult, just finishing up with the, you know, my academy and trying to locate where my future family is going to be, you're the reason why I'm here, because the city is what it was then when I first moved here, all because of your leadership, all because of your hands-on approach to make sure that we stand out when an individual like myself drive around the community to see where I want to place my roots. And it's because of you. The byproduct of your leadership is the reason why most of us are living in this city. And without that, you know, who knows where we'll be. And when you walk through the parks and you see the kids playing on the baseball fields, and you see the individuals in the swimming pools or jogging along the streets, walking along the tracks, those are all byproducts of your leadership. So it's not just the structure and the aesthetics, but it's truly the family environment that you created for our city. And then with that comes the schools, you know, the achievements of all of our past and future individuals for this city. It's all because of you. And I just want to just dearly and truly say thank you for being a great example for not just me, but for this city on what a leader should be. And it's going to be tough to follow. And I'm looking forward to you continuing your leadership by being in contact with us and not just leaving us in the dust. So I just hope that you'll continue to do what truly comes natural to you, which is be part of this city. So thank you, Art.
Chung, thank you. Naresh?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Art, for all these years of service. Again, everybody had said everything, but you are truly a father figure to me. You directed me, you guided me, and I became a better councilman because of you. And you make us look good, all of us. Dealing with 5 personality for 30 years, it's not easy. It's a very difficult task, but you have done so well. With every conference I go, they all remember Art Kuchi. That's our Art. So that shows the quality of the work that you have done for our city, our community, and our residents. And I know there's a big shoe to fill, Robert, but you and your family has devoted entire life for this city. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Naresh. Art, I said a little bit earlier, but it's hard really to understand unless you work with someone that gives as much as Art does. And Robert, you mentioned we've had people say that you had big shoes to fill. But the part that people don't recognize, the city manager's job is truly 7 days a week, 24 hours. He's on call, or she is, if in other cities. But for Art, he's had phone calls, get him up in the middle of the night, emergencies from a variety of things. To deal with the horrors of the plane crash, which was in '86, and to listen to the stories of our staff that had to respond. Art had to do, way beyond what people are normally called to do. And Chung, I too remember driving into the city. My sister-in-law lived here, but when we came back to California in '78, and I had put a down payment on a house in another city, they poured the foundation wrong, took away a view of the house, and I canceled the order and ended up here the very next day, driving through on the weekend. And all of a sudden I became aware of exactly what you saw. People out walking, running, jogging, playing in the parks. And, when it came up to the house we're looking at, the thing my wife left me two things to look for. And that was a lot of kids, children that were outside playing, and big trees. The kids are big, the trees are gone. But the city is still something that is very rare, to find. And Art, as I said before, we have a great staff. It's been here for a while. We've had many new people come on since, you took over and, took the leadership positions. The one comment I have always heard, from our residents is that they love the city. It's very seldom you hear someone say they want to move. But the city has a legacy that's going to live on for generations. And I too want to thank you, and I'll say more, at your retirement party. But Art, you asked if you could speak. I'll give you the chance to do that before we move on.
I've always wanted to dominate a meeting. First of all, thank the City Council for allowing me the opportunity to be city manager. I appreciate it to the bottom of my heart. It's been a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, and I'll never, ever forget the opportunity that I've given me. As I mentioned just a while back, we've had 52 mayors. We had 25 that have had multiple terms. And I've had the pleasure of working with every one of those mayors. And the thing that impressed me the most is I've never found one of them who tried to do something that was not correct. Every one of them did what they were trying to do for the betterment of the community and not themselves. I was just so impressed with that. Makes you want to work harder and be involved more. To have a council that is so supportive of themselves and supportive of their community and only their community. So I appreciate that tremendously. We had wonderful growth. When I started with the city, our budget was a couple $100,000. Our reserve was a couple of $100,000. 32 years later, it's $150 million is our reserve, cash, in the bank. And by the way, my name is the signature on that, and I'm not going to release it. So, and our attorney's laughing. The pleasure of being here has been something that I could never, ever explain to anyone. The opportunity to do the things that I've done in being involved with developers and council people, residents. I know lots of residents in the community, and it's a wonderful thing to do, that we know each other, say hi at the store, et cetera, and look forward to working hard for this community. The most difficult thing I ever did in the city of Cerritos was I had to declare the state of emergency for the air crash. And I had to stay on that site for a couple of weeks. Not very pleasant, but the community came together and stayed together throughout that 2 weeks of cleanup and fix up of the neighborhood and the area. And it was that important working together that showed the camaraderie and showed the residents that they belonged to a community. And it did come together. And we did what we had to do. And people that don't know what happened at that corner will never know because you can't tell. And that was our goal, was to clean it up and fix it so it's perfect again. So that was the most difficult thing I ever had to do, but the pleasure has always been mine to work here. Now, obviously, I didn't do it all, didn't do much, just gave a few orders and got out of the way. We have over 300 outstanding employees who've just done a marvelous job. And they're the ones that deserve the credit. And they're the ones that should be sitting here, not me, because they did the work that we directed. And getting a little choked up, so I was waiting till it go past as it did. The best thing that's ever happened is the fact that we all stayed together through all of this and stayed together with our workers. I want to thank each and every one of them, and I've been walking around shaking their hands, and it's hard to get to 300 people quickly, but we're working on it. And not only them, but the city council, with a group that put it together. I did have the chance to work with all of them, and that is, to me, the most marvelous thing was working with them. They are the goal, as I said. The council is the supporting, provide the money and the direction. Always a direction. That's the thing you have to remember as a city manager. You have ideas, the council implements. It's their city. Always their city. The happiness that I've had is working, having a great job, but most importantly to me is having a great family. I have 5 kids and 8 grandchildren so far. Most of them are sitting there. Some are in Europe right now, but the other ones are all here. And exciting for me to see them. That little guy's a little tough guy. He's 1 year old. So I'm pleased to have had that opportunity, but I lost my train of thought. My train of thought is, he keeps yelling, Papa. The excitement of being here and working here and having the family that I've had. But the person I want to thank the most is my wife. She was a co-director, co-city manager of the city. I had her participate in everything that we did. That gave her the opportunity to see what I was doing and not get mad at me when I come home late. So I want to thank her for that and let her know how much I appreciate it. So thank you, babe. And as Forrest Gump said in the movie, that's all I got to say.
Okay, before we move on, most people don't realize this, and Joanne, I don't know if you even know this, but we talk about how much character counts. Art had a check made out to his name for
$26 million.
20-something $million, right? And he turned it back in. You know, the person, you know, the company that wrote the check just made it out incorrectly, but I'm not sure that every city manager would walk away from taking home a $20-something million check.
Yeah, how do you explain that?
But anyway, thank you very much, Art. we're definitely going to miss you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to miss you. Known you a long time.
And by the way, I'd asked staff to speak, but we'd be here all night long getting through all this. So, but Art, they're going to have their chance to speak also. Okay, next on it is our 5C appointments. I do have one appointment. Is there any others tonight? Seeing none. Property preservation. Unfortunately, we had Grandmaster Kim pass away. And
You're going to do just fine. You're going to
we held off the appointment until after the funeral services, which were last Friday. My appointment is Lou Jalomo. Lou has served on Parks and Recs and I forgot the other one, Public Safety. Anyway, I'll let Lou explain. Anyway, I'd like to have him considered, and I'll make the motion for. Okay, and remind you that for public comments.
And at this time, I don't believe we have any public comments for this item, but if is anybody on the floor would like to speak on this item only, which is the appointment to fill the Poverty Preservation Commission appointment. And Mayor, we didn't have anyone at this
I
time.
don't see anyone, so we'll close public comments.
Would public comment include everything in 5?
No.
No, just this.
So we're not going to have public comments for 5B for Art?
No.
They could do it under C.
Okay, so I'll make the motion to nominate
Second.
Lou Jalomo. Lou, if you could join me over here to the side.
We need a roll call.
No, we're going to just unanimous. Okay, any objections? Hearing none, so ordered.
I like that.
That's what I said. Okay, got it right. Yeah.
Okay, can you raise your right hand? And then you're going to state your name. So
I, Louis Jalomo,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that you will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic.
that I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California.
that you take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion.
and that I will
well
and faithfully
and faithfully
discharge the
duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon the duties which I'm about to enter. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Lou, congratulations. And would you like to have Terry come up and join you for a photo? And would you like to share anything?
Yeah, I will. I want to thank Bruce for putting his faith in me to take this position. I've served on the Parks and Recreation Commission for 6 years, and I've also served on the Public Safety Committee for 2 years. So I enjoy serving the city of Cerritos. I've lived here for 52 years, and like many people have stated just recently, how lucky we are to live in a city that was so well managed and run by our city manager, Art Kuchi, and all of the commissions over the years. And I appreciate this opportunity to serve again.
Right over here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's do a couple more. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, and 3. Excellent. Thank you.
Do one just the two of them.
All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, and 3. Excellent. Thank you.
Next, we have the item 5D. And by the way, those that wish to address Art, we're going to have public comments and allow you to go ahead and speak at that point. 5D is the consideration and appointment to the Board of Trustees of the Greater Los Angeles County Vector Control District. Vita, would you like to introduce this?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. This item is before the City Council tonight as the term for the city's appointed representative to the Greater Los Angeles Vector Control District Board of Directors will expire on December 31st of this year. Pursuant to state law, each member city of the Vector Control District appoints a voting representative to the board for either a 2 or 4 year term. The next term will commence on the first Monday in January 2024. We have received a request from the Vector Control District to place consideration of the appointment before the City Council prior to January 1st, 2024, and the current incumbent, Mr. Mark Bowman, has also confirmed with both the district executive staff and Cerritos City staff of his interest in reappointment for a 4-year term. Prior to taking action on this item, public comments will need to be taken, and at this time, I will turn the matter back to the Mayor and City Council for any questions or staff or council discussion.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? I'd like to say one thing before we open public comments. Over my years on council, we've had a couple of different people serve on this position, and the one thing that I've heard over and over again, we haven't had anybody better than Mark Bowman, who is a retired engineer from Boeing Corporation, worked out of their facility up in Everett, Washington. He is very detail oriented, makes phenomenal notes. I think, Robert, you might attest to that. And to me, it's with great pleasure that he's still interested, that he wants to serve, because he has done a phenomenal job, for us. But before we can do a motion, we do go ahead and do public comments. Is there anyone that wishes to address the council at this time on this matter? Okay, we'll get you in just a moment. Okay, seeing no public comments, we'll go ahead and close public comments.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Peter, can we get a roll call, please?
At this time, a motion has been made by Mayor Pro Tem Solanki and Councilmember Vo to appoint Mr. Mark Bowman to a 4-year term to the Greater Los Angeles County Vector Control District. At this time, a roll call vote will be conducted. Council Agency Member Johnson?
Yes.
Council Agency Member Vo?
Aye.
Council Agency Member Yokoyama?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chair Solanki?
Aye.
Mayor and Chair Barrows?
Aye.
The motion passes with a vote of 5-0.
Okay, now Vita, you need to swear him in, right?
Actually, we do not do the swear. I'm happy to swear anybody in, and however, it is not our district board, and so the district board will do the
We'll
oath
do
of
that,
office at their
okay.
level. But I'm happy to do it. If
But
the
what I'd
council
like to do is offer a chance that the five of us get a photo with him. It's going to be a rare chance to do that.
Bruce, can I just say I agree with your words about Mark Boland, and congratulations, Mark.
But thank you.
Yep, looks like it. When you put my chair over here, so I'll have to keep my get it up on there.
Good job, Mark.
You guys gotta slide over here. No, slide that way. Slide this way again.
Okay. For 4 more years.
Yeah, well.
You know, so we had
Let's hope I live that long.
It's a
4-year?
2 years.
It's a 4-year?
It's 4 years.
Wow. Did you know that?
Yes.
The mosquitoes are worried.
All right, everybody, right over here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Take a couple more, please. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, and 3. Excellent. Thank you.
Good job, Mark.
I want you guys to know that his children and my children went to school together.
Oh,
That's how we
wow.
met.
That's how old we
Long
are.
time.
I hope they're paying you a lot over there at the Vector Control.
Good job.
Yeah, by the mosquito.
Good job.
Okay. Okay, now is the time for public comments.
Nurse, and I'm a 30-year resident of Cerritos on Pine Creek Road. And myself and my neighbor, Samar Malouf, were here in August requesting assistance with the achieving traffic calming measures in our area of the Creeks area in the Granada Park development, because we have had repeated injuries to cats, near injuries to people. Since we've come to the last meeting, we had Samar's daughter car was hit right on our street, and another cat was killed. So we feel that there's this should not be happening in our wonderful city of Cerritos. And that I did have a conversation with Daryl Evans, and we appreciated that. However, we feel like more specifics should result from actually sitting down and fulfilling the consensus decision that you all made in August to for us to meet with a staff person to really sit down and look at what are the best measures that we can implement here.
Yeah, this time it hit my house, my daughter. So she was on Pine Creek. She stopped for this car to pass, and then he was distracted and he hit her.
Okay, can you share your name, please?
Samar Malouf. Samar Malouf. I live on Pine Creek Road in Cerritos for 75 years in Cerritos. And we live here because it's safe. So, but now it's not safe anymore because this time, 2 months ago, they hit my daughter. And this is, ridiculous for not to be protected in our house or on our.
So we're simply asking for the consensus decision that was made in the August City Council meeting for a staff person that you all signed to sit down with us and really look at potential solutions. We feel like humps are the best solution. May or may not be. Daryl Evans described the complexity of, some of the attempts to calm traffic, but we just want to have that staff person sit down with us and look at it because this problem has been there for years. It's not going away.
Okay, Robert?
Thank you, Mayor, and we appreciate the residents' comments. Following the direction given by the City Council in August, our staff did initiate looking into the issue. I'm going to defer to Mr. Evans to discuss what has been done so far, and we, of course, would be happy to have our staff meet with the residents as was requested.
Okay.
Thank you, appointed City Manager Lopez, and good evening, Mayor and Council, and good evening to our residents here, and thank you for coming in and citing the conversation we had. We appreciate that. We definitely want to keep the city straight. Just, you know, I prepared a memo today that will be going to council. They have not received it yet, but it's a good opportunity for us to let you know what has happened. And so as a result of your request, working with Public Works, we put up 2 Black Cat 2 devices that we spoke about. These are the small lunchbox-sized devices that are self-contained that use radar to track all of the volume of traffic there, the speed, and the direction. We did that for, between September 8th and September 17th. For 24 hours a day, we monitored all that traffic. What that told us is that there were 71 vehicles that had driven past those Black Cat 2s in excess of 40 miles an hour on a 25-mile-an-hour street. So there were 71 incidences where people were speeding. As a result of that, we spoke with Captain Drew Strong here, and he tasked his deputies to go out there. So they went out there and monitored those streets specifically between October 10th and October 23rd for various times. They were there in the mornings, afternoons, and late evenings. They used the time that was captured by the Black Cat 2s, showing where the volume and speed of people where that was occurring. That's the time they were deployed. During their period there, they issued 12 citations. The majority of them were for speeding. What was interesting to note, though, was out of the 12 citations, 7 of them were issued to people who live in that track. And so, you know, the driver age ranged between 20 and 80 years old. And so in what we looked at was that there were out of the 12, 6 of the drivers are 60 to 80 years old, which is virtually half. There was additional 4 drivers between the age of 40 and 50, and only 2 drivers the age of 23 years old. So typically when we think about people speeding through residential tracks, we think it's the younger drivers, the teenagers, those sort of things. But in this particular case, like I said, over half of the people actually live there, and well over half of them are mature adults, 40, 50, 60 to 80, right? So we got some residents with some bad habits over there. As a result of that, you know, the sheriffs are going to continue to monitor that area and issue citations as time allows. What is in this memo, and that I hope you appreciate, that speeding and traffic collisions in the city is the #1 safety priority. It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. On average, the city has approximately 600 traffic collisions per year. In fact, last year there was 576 traffic collisions. This year to date, 478. The deputies have issued 1,767 citations for hazardous driving. The reason why I mention that is poor driving habits is citywide. So the deputies do spend time on that street, but they also spend time in the rest of the city as well. And in addition to that, we frequently get calls from ABC School District asking for assistance in mitigating their traffic problems in and around all the elementary schools. So just know that what you have going on there is important, but it's also competes with the crossing guards and the students and the schools and everybody else colliding into each other out there too. So that's why they're not out there all the time. But they did dedicate over 14 hours plus to take a look at that. So as a result of your suggestions, you know, we'll take a look at installing the Black Cat 2s, seeing if the mitigation efforts here have helped at all. The device will capture like 71 occurrences of speeding. That doesn't mean that the same 10 drivers didn't create those same violations as they come and go, or whether it's 71 independent drivers. You know, it wouldn't tell us that. But what we're going to do as mitigation efforts is distribute some tailored public awareness messaging to the residents up there, because that seems to be where the problem is coming from. As you know, you live there. It's not a natural thoroughfare. It's the people who live in and around there or visiting people in and around there. So we're going to get the messaging out. We've also had Public Works take a look at speed bumps. They provided some input that's in the memo here for council to consider. When you'll be getting the memo, you should have that tomorrow. And then we'll continue on with the problem. You know, just because we wrote a memo, we know the problem doesn't go away. But the bottom line is half the people are living in that neighborhood, and that's where the source of the problem is. So we're going to reach out to them and solicit their cooperation. And again, Neighborhood Watch, if you identify cars or license plates, we will send them a message, a letter asking them to slow down and letting them know what the consequences if they didn't. So as a result of your effort coming down here, we mobilize a lot of city resources, but it's a work ongoing. And so thanks for sharing.
I am a
with me.
neighborhood watch, and I've been watching, tired watching. I mean, nobody stops, Many times they were going to hit me at night also.
Yes, just be aware that speeding or violation of the vehicle code in this is an infraction. It has to be witnessed by a law enforcement officer before they can take action. So even though Neighborhood Watch, we appreciate all your efforts, you're not allowed to issue citations. And so if you would identify the car and the license plate number, then we could take some corrective action. That action would not result in a citation, by the way. It would just be us contacting them, soliciting support.
And we look forward to sitting down with the staff person and understanding the possibility of the speed humps and just understanding the measures you've taken. We appreciate that.
And we plan on doing that, but protocol would dictate that we, solicit the input of council before we provide any guidance to you.
Great.
That's all I have, unless you have other questions.
Well, thank you very much.
All right.
Any further comments? Is there anyone else that wishes to address the council during public comments?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Paul W. Bellenbaum. I've lived here all my life. It just occurred to me that, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. And yet, over here on Bloomfield and whatever that street is, there used to be a ficus tree, but there's no Christmas trees. Why is that? And the state tree, of course, is the redwood, so that one should be in the middle. And the right one should be a sequoia, and I'm left-handed. The other one should be a cedar. Why is that? Is there no plans to erect anything like that? Another thing is my brother, he goes up to San Francisco a lot at this time. For some reason, he gets weird, around trick or treat or, and he always goes up there. But, one thing that San Francisco is famous for is the cable cars. Well, why can't you have a turning dish on Gridley and 183rd? Because there's a tremendous amount of, that bus depot, all the buses, whether it be the Lakewood or the Cow Bus or the Metro Bus or the Norwalk bus. Oh, and of course, my favorite bus is the Long Beach bus. I can't, they gotta be up there. But this turning dish, you couldn't discriminate against that, regardless of race, creed, color, or gender. But I don't like the Long Beach bus because I was treated, awful bad. And this guy, he was, I couldn't believe it. And he says, well, hey, I can retire tomorrow. I got 35 years in, and I can stay, I might stay for another 40 years. And I said, and he wanted me to hop. I have my right leg is a little shorter than my left leg. I said, you want me to hop over to the other? Yeah, we're having a little side bet here. I don't think you're going to make it. But I think you could have a turning dish on Gridley and 183rd. Two buses or two cars. And also the Christmas tree. Why can't we have Christmas trees? The state tree is a redwood. You do know that. You know, if you chop one of them down, I found that out, it's only a measly $10,000 fine. You know, that's right now, I have a negative balance in my checking account. That's why I carry a lot of quarters with me at all times for emergencies. Okay. I have no, you know, there was this sheriff. Her name was Dakota. Do you remember her? She got hit.
Okay, Paul.
Whatever happened to her?
Yeah, you need to, you're speaking to the council.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So you don't know what, if she was taken care of. You know, I mean, they had those 4 girls in Pepperdine on Malibu. They got whacked for no apparent reason, but the guy was going only over 100 miles an hour on Dead Man's Curve. Over the decades, there's been a lot of people killed on that stretch of highway. I guess I got 12 seconds or 10 seconds. Thanks for hearing me out on this.
Okay, thank you.
And best to you, Mr. Galucci. No hard feelings, right? Okay, bye.
Okay. Paul, I will respond to one thing. You know, the intersection of Gridley and 183rd is controlled by Metro. There's a train going to go through there someday by and by, but there's no way we can do what you're suggesting because Metro controls it.
I'm talking the city of Cerritos. You could put a turning dish.
Paul, I'm just trying to tell you, that intersection you're referring to is controlled by Metro within Cerritos. We do not have.
You have no.
No, we don't.
You mean you got to go up to Sacramento?
No.
Where do you have to go to complain about something like that?
Well, you can go ahead and complain all you want. We can too. Metro, which is in LA,
It's out
controls
of your hands.
it.
You're washing. It's like Pontius Pilate, huh? Okay. Thanks for letting me know, Mr. Burrows.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that wishes to address the council? Yes.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. I'm not here to complain anything. I want to thank the city for something.
Okay, we need to have you give your name.
My name is Teddy Lloyd. I'm with the Cerritos, live in Cerritos. Go ahead. May I speak? Okay.
Yeah, certainly.
Okay. I'm here to thank the city. What am I thanking the city for? It's right by Bloomfield and the sports complex. And I noticed the lights by the parking area and also along the sections belongs to the city of Cerritos. Those lights been off for quite some time. And it caught my attention because I was going to play pickleball. And then what I did, I went and talked to the recreation department, and then they said, well, we don't quite do it. So what I did, I went to the city hall, and I spoke to, I think, the engineering department, and one of, forgot and then I believe, I'm not sure her name is. She was very helpful. She even said, I would put your request about the lights that went out to the department maintenance. And then I got a call maybe a few days later and tell me, yeah, actually they're in the works. They are going to be replacing. And I said, oh, okay. Is it going to be next year? Because I noticed those lights being off for quite some time. Caught my attention because I drive by Bloomfield quite a bit. And I really care about it because when it gets dark, and some of the undesirable characters park their car and then just stay over. And one time it caused the damage to a restroom. And then I think the sheriff's department even sent the patrol cars and arrested somebody who put in a firecracker and then caused the damage. That turned out to belong to the county of Los Angeles. So, any case, I'm very, very excited and very, very happy. And I noticed after I brought to the attention to the city, the lights have changed. And I say, wow, that's great. So my question to the city is that if we as residents, sometimes we see a lot of the things, and then sometimes I feel like I want to go and pay and just replace it because I like to see the lights on. Is there a quicker way that we can notify the city and we know how quickly those lights, let's say, will be replaced or fixed? Because I just don't like to see these lights stay off for a long time. Then some of the undesirable characters would take advantage of it, park the car overnight, and on and on. And I did bring the attention to the sheriff's department, and they say, if you see that, give the sheriff's department a call, okay, if they may be causing, potential damage to the area, and just for the sake of it. So I'm curious, as a resident, which I like to see the city to become better, and it starts on my own property. If there's something broken, I want to fix it, okay? Usually, sometimes with the city, it may take longer than expected, whereas I can call a contractor who will come in the afternoon, fix it. So what I like to know is that as a resident who care about the city and I like to see things fixed, is there a quicker way that a resident can contact the city to find out? I'm just curious.
Okay, there's a couple ways, but I'll let Robert address it. But we do have an app that's online that you can use to report anything that you see.
I see.
And you'll get a response that they've acknowledged it, that they're working on it, and so on. But Robert, if you can add to that.
Sure, yes, thank you, Mayor. We do have, as you mentioned, an app. It's a Go Request app. Information regarding that is on our city website. It's as easy as taking a picture and tapping a button. It's fairly simple, and as the mayor mentioned, residents who do submit requests do get notified to confirm receipt of the request. That's one quick way, and you can do that 24/7. Also, any resident can call City Hall. Things like broken lights at a park are maintained by the maintenance division of our Public Works Department. But if you call the main City Hall number, they can transfer any resident to the right person to make sure we receive that request and can get it taken care of as soon as possible.
So quick question, if I may ask. So
Sure.
If I notice, let's say a light, it's bad, if it's my own property, I'll get it done in the afternoon. At the city, is there a time frame? And let's say it may not, do it for another month or so. So is that something that as a resident we can find out, talk to somebody in the department who say, oh, okay, it will be next week or something like that? Does it even work that way? Or it's just a procedure? Okay.
Go ahead, Robert.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone who calls City Hall, we'd be happy to provide them with an estimated time frame. The first thing that would happen is that staff would investigate the issue, understand what the scope is required, and then after that, we would understand the time frame for addressing the issue. But if a resident requests to be contacted, we'd be happy to get back to them on the expected time frame.
Okay. Thank you very much. Again, I want to thank the city because I'm very happy to see on Bloomfield where the sports complex, the lights are on, and then you can definitely see it when I'm driving it. So I noticed for like several months it's been off, so it caught my attention, and I'm sort of concerned about, sometimes undesirable characters would be parked there and then stay overnight. And then now the lights on, it looks very good. And again, I want to thank the city for that, okay?
Mr. Lloyd, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice evening. Thank you.
Okay, any other public comments? Seeing none? Oh, I didn't see, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members, honorable council members. My name is Mark Polito, Cerritos resident of 51 years. Proud son of the Cerritos. And I came here for two reasons. The first is to extend my gratitude to you, the council members, for recognizing for the first time in this council chambers Filipino American History Month. My ancestry is Filipino, but I was born right here next door in Bellflower and raised here. But This month of October is Filipino American History Month because on October 18th, 1587, is when the first Filipinos stepped foot on what is today the continental United States. And for our hometown to recognize that and the significance of that means a lot to not just me, but generations of my community that have come to Cerritos and made it home. And so I just want to say thank you, and I'm proud to be joined by my wife Gloria and my sister Marisa and my compadre Johnny Itleong to say thank you, and I look forward to future celebrations in years to come. The second thing that I came here to do is because I definitely plan to be at Art Kuchi's retirement party, but I understand that there's not going to be a lot of presentations or speeches, rightfully so, because the focus should be kept on art. But I wanted to take this opportunity to come before you in this beautifully newly refurbished council chambers. This is the first time in 3.5 years that I've been able to come back to a council meeting. My last one is when I termed out, and it was done virtually. So it's good to be here to just say a few words of gratitude to such an amazing man, a great American, and just one of the most decent and good human beings I've ever met in my life, and that's Mr. Art Kuchi. I want to thank you, Art. I see you there. Earlier, I had a chance to hug you and tell you that I love you, and I'm speaking from the heart because when I was 3 years old, my family finally made it to move here to Cerritos. In 1965, when my dad was working as a Caltrans civil engineer, helping to build the interchange at 605-91, he and my mom aspired to move here. But it took about 7 years before they were able to move to our home on Amberwood. And that was 1972. But the very first program that I ever benefited from in the city of Cerritos was the Cerritos Park East Tot Lot. And so to know that Art Kuchi got his start as the Director of Leisure Services, you know, it just warms my heart to know that the guy behind the scenes, the unsung hero, who helped a little kid get a start in life, right? So that he could learn to play nice and fair with his classmates. You know, that's like, what is that now? 50-something years overdue gratitude giving back to you, Art. But it wasn't just that. It was being able to play in city sports leagues and being able to walk through this chambers in 6th grade. And then when Art became the city manager, and I realized that a lot of the things that I benefited from, and those in my generation and generations to follow, that would benefit from the great institutions in our community. Art Kuchi's fingerprints, his heart, and his soul are all over the physical manifestations of our community that have come through the council and through, what was it, about 25 mayors, right? So I'm honored to have been able to serve, but I just have to say this, okay? When the history of Cerritos gets to be written again, sometime in 2056 for the centennial of our city, I hope that the historians will look back on the period of the Kuchi golden years. And to be able to say that thanks to this unsung hero, that Cerritos is truly one of the greatest American cities of the late 20th century and early 21st century, that made possible for so many people, so many communities from all across the globe to come here to raise their children in this safe, beautiful, nurturing, vibrant community. And we all can say that we owed it to a great man behind the scenes, humble, a loving husband to Joanne, I know she's left, and a great father and grandfather to the wonderful Galucci family, who I'm just so touched that I was able to come and witness the love that he is surrounded by. And so, Art, I just want to wish you well on behalf of my family and so many countless families who can't be here tonight, to say thank you, God bless you, and keep you. And we hope that you enjoy thoroughly your golden years, your retirement years, because you've earned it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Before we close public comments, is there anyone else that wishes to address the council or Art? Seeing none, we'll close public comments, move to the consent calendar.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vita, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Thank you. Motion has been made by Mayor Pro Tem Solanke, seconded by Councilmember Vo, to approve the consent calendar as presented. At this time, a roll call vote will be conducted. Council and Agency Member Johnson.
Aye.
Council Agency Member Vo.
Aye.
Council and Agency Member Yokoyama.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chair Solanke.
Aye.
Mayor and Chair Barrows.
Aye.
The motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, next up is a public hearing item, 8A. May we have a staff report, please?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This first and only public hearing, item 8A, is a proposal to subdivide an existing single-family parcel into two and to complete an existing single-family residential tract. The presentation this evening will be given by Ms. Cisneros, and following her presentation, she and Ms. Aguila and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, and good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Applicant and property owner Cerritos 2 Development, LLC, is requesting approval of tentative parcel map 84298 to subdivide one existing parcel into two separate single-family residential parcels. The applicant is also requesting approval of Precise Plan 2023-15 to construct a new single-family residential development comprised of two lots. Parcel 1 with a new two-story residence, and Parcel 2 with a new one-story residence and a detached accessory dwelling unit, or ADU, located in the rear yard. In conjunction with this project, a new 6-foot-high block wall will be constructed along the north property line abutting Artesia Boulevard, and the new residence will be accessed from driveways off Parkwell Place. Additional improvements include new sidewalks, parkway landscaping, and other related site improvements. The applicant has proposed a detached accessory dwelling unit, or ADU, on Parcel 2 of tentative parcel map 84298. In accordance with state planning and zoning laws and with concurrence by the applicant, the public hearing will not apply to the proposed ADU, which will be processed administratively by city staff after completion of review of the single-family development, again pursuant to the parcel map and precise plan before you tonight. The following slides will describe the details of the proposed project. Excuse me, the subject property is located at 13730 Artesia Boulevard and is zoned single-family residential, RS 6500. This is an enlarged aerial map of the property. The property was originally developed in 1964 and is comprised of one existing lot containing an existing single-family residential home, a garage which has been converted into an illegal accessory dwelling unit, and various other accessory structures. This is a view of the subject property looking south from Artesia Boulevard. The subject property is generally flat with a little slope. On-site vegetation includes weeds and various grasses covering portions of the property. Although the property is bordered to the south by the cul-de-sac end of Parkwell Place, access to the subject property is not available via Parkwell Place, but rather is provided via one large driveway off Artesia Boulevard, which borders the site to the north. This is a view of the subject property looking north from Parkville Place. As shown on the slide, the subject property abuts the cul-de-sac end of Parkville Place, which was constructed in conjunction with the adjacent housing development to the south and west of the subject property. An existing 6-foot block wall is located along the south property line of the subject property as shown in this slide. And then this is a photo of the subject property looking northwest in the rear yard of the existing property. This slide contains the proposed tentative parcel map 84298, which is proposed to subdivide the existing parcel into 2 separate single-family residential parcels. The existing single-family residential parcel is approximately 16,469 square feet in area. As proposed, 2 new parcels will be created. Parcel 1 at 6,590 square feet in area, and Parcel 2 at 9,879 square feet in area. Both parcels meet the minimum lot size requirements of the RS 6500 single-family residential zone and are large enough to accommodate the new residents proposed under Precise Plan 2023-15. It should be noted that the home directly to the west of the subject property is also zoned RS 6500, and the remaining lots in the neighborhood are zoned RS 5000. The proposed tentative parcel map has been reviewed by the city engineer in accordance with the application requirements and has been found to be acceptable for city council consideration and approval. Next, I'll provide details of the proposed Precise Plan 2023-15. This is the proposed site plan. The applicant is requesting approval for 1 new 2-story residence on Parcel 1, which is on the left of the slide, and 1 new 1-story residence and detached ADU on Parcel 2, which is on the right of the slide. The proposed residents meet all setback and development standards of the RS 6500 square foot zone. These are the proposed floor plans of the new 2nd-story home proposed on Parcel 1, totaling 3,138 square feet in area, with an attached 480 square foot 2-car garage. Upon completion, the first floor of the new 2-story home will include a great room, a dining room, kitchen, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a powder room, and a laundry room. The second floor will include 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a family room, and a powder room. These are the south and front west building elevations. The architectural style of the new 2-story home will be a modern farmhouse style. The exterior will be predominantly finished with horizontal and vertical James Hardie simulated wood siding. The horizontal wood siding is proposed in an egret white color, and the vertical wood siding is proposed in a pure white color. The lower portion of the residence will have old country ledgestone veneer in a charcoal gray color. These are the proposed north and east building elevations. Some of the residences below the roof eaves will be finished with stucco, also in an egret white color. The wood fascia of the home will be finished in a pure white color, and the front door will be finished with a combination of pure white and grizzly gray colors. All windows of the home will have wood trim borders painted in a dark gray color. These are the proposed floor plans for Parcel 2. The floor plan on the left is the proposed 1-story floor plan of the main house, and the floor plan on the right is the 1-story floor plan of the proposed accessory dwelling unit. The proposed 1-story residence totals 2,071 square feet in area with an attached 713 square foot 3-car garage. The proposed 1-story ADU totals 900 square feet in area and will be located in the rear yard behind the proposed one-story home. Upon completion, the first floor of the one-story residence will include a great room, a dining room, kitchen, master bedroom, bath, 2 additional bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a powder room, and a laundry room. The proposed ADU will have 1 bedroom, a living room, dining room, kitchen, 1 bathroom, a powder room, and a laundry room. These are the building elevations of the one-story home on parcel 2. The architectural style of the new one-story residence will match the 2-story home on parcel 1 with a modern farmhouse style. The exterior of the proposed residence will be predominantly finished with the same horizontal and vertical James Hardie simulated wood siding. Some portions of the residence below the roofies will be finished with stucco in an egret white color, and the lower portion of the residence will have an old country ledgestone veneer in charcoal gray color. The wood fascia of the building will be finished in pure white color, and the front door will have a combination of bungle house blue and aqua sphere colors. And lastly, the windows of the home will have a wood trim border painted in a dark gray color. These are the proposed elevations of the ADU on parcel 2. The architectural style of the ADU will match both homes on parcel 1 and 2 with a modern farmhouse design. The colors and materials will match those of the main house on parcel 2 for a matching architectural design theme. This is the proposed conceptual landscape plan. The plan was prepared by a California licensed landscape architect, which was designed to complement the architectural design theme of the residential development. The proposed plan provides for front and rear landscaping for each of the 2 residential parcels. The conceptual plan includes 1 street tree and ground cover in the parkway between both parcels due to the limited parkway area caused by the installation of the proposed driveway aprons on the new residential parcels. The front yard landscape design features a variety of trees, shrubs, and ground cover, and a water-efficient landscape design palette, and is intended to provide an inviting and lush landscape living environment for these new residences. The applicant has provided a material and color sample board on the dais for the City Council's review, and it's also shown on this screen. A notice of public hearing regarding this item was mailed to owners within 500 feet of the subject property on October 13th, at least 10 days prior to the public hearing this evening, as required by the Cerritos Municipal Code. Notices were also posted at the city's 4 designated posting boards on October 13th, 2023, and the staff reports and all exhibits were posted on the city's website. This project has been evaluated in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, and the city's environmental guidelines. The Cerritos Department of Community Development has determined that the proposed project is exempt from CEQA review pursuant to sections 15303 with dealing with new construction or conversion of small structures, and 15315 dealing with minor land divisions of the state CEQA guidelines, which is further explained on pages 8 and 9 of the agenda report and on this slide. This concludes the details of the proposed project, as well as the CEQA analysis. Before you this evening is consideration of tentative parcel map 84298 and precise plan 2023-15. At this time, it's recommended that the City Council review and discuss the information provided, conduct a public hearing, and adopt a resolution approving tentative parcel map 84298 and precise plan 2023-15. This ends the PowerPoint presentation, but I did want to go over some of the information related to the public hearing notices. 2 voicemail messages and 1 written public comment were received from the public hearing notices for the Planning Commission meeting. The voicemail message sought instructions on how to submit a public comment for the Planning Commission meeting. The 1 written comment received at the Planning Commission was from a resident on Parkville Place, expressing concerns related to construction, safety, increase of crime with the removal of the wall on Parkville Place, increased traffic in cul-de-sac, and street parking impacts. However, at the Planning Commission meeting, the applicant indicated that he and his family would be living in the one-story home, and his parents would be occupying the rear ADU unit. In addition, the applicant indicated that he would do as much as possible to have construction from the Artesia Boulevard side of the property in order to reduce construction impacts into the neighborhoods on Parkville Place. The applicant spoke with the adjacent neighbors who attended the Planning Commission meeting, and he felt that he had addressed their concerns. In response to tonight's City Council meeting, one written comment was received expressing concerns relating to parking and traffic, as well as the height of the current finished grade of the lot. And this written comment was provided to the City Council accordingly. This concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time. I do have the applicants in the audience tonight who can also answer questions. Thank you.
Sandy, thank you for that report. Are there any questions from council? Frank?
Yes, please. Sandy, thank you for that report. Was it required under state law for you to go over with us today in this report at the City Council meeting, and also to include it in the agenda report for item 8A, all of this information about the ADU?
We basically wanted to explain that the ADU portion of the project must be approved administratively by way of the state laws. But because it's part of the project, we presented it along with the entire project so that you would understand the entire project as a whole. However, we wanted to make it clear based on our the state requirements that this review and approval by the council does not include the accessory dwelling unit.
If I may also add that information about the ADU was included in the public hearing notice and the agenda report as a courtesy notice to adjacent property owners that although the city is required to approve administratively accessory dwelling units, we did want to notify properties within 500 feet of the subject property that an ADU is planned, as well as the two single-family homes.
Yes, but thank you. And I just wanted to discuss this because is it correct to describe that the ADU, the applicant can get administrative approval of the ADU by right under California law?
Well, it's just an informational section in the report, but yes, it is approved by right with an application administratively without Planning Commission or City Council approval.
Yes, and that's an issue that this City Council has discussed, how we have concerns about the state taking away local control of matters like this, on whether or not our city, our ordinances, our community development department, our City Council, what aspects of housing can we control. And the fact that the ADUs in the agenda report and in the notice you just talked about, I just wanted to make sure the public knows that under state law, the applicant can have the ADU approved administratively over the counter by right, and this City Council, and please clarify this if I'm misstating it, this City Council cannot, under state law, block the ADU. And the fact that it's in the agenda report, I just don't want to give the wrong impression that this city council is considering whether or not to approve the ADU.
Thank you, Councilman Yokoyama. You are correct. I will also, to provide added clarification, turn your attention over to City Attorney Bill Erkey if he wants to add anything regarding ADU law.
Yes, thank you. Councilmember Yokoyama, you're correct that in general, there is state law that preempts local control for ADUs when certain conditions are met. Many ADU applications can, provide the information that's required by state law that would allow for ministerial review. But to emphasize your point, you're correct that state law generally requires that these to be approved ministerially.
Thank you, Bill. Also, just wanted to confirm that if this project is approved tonight by the city council, splitting up the lot into two lots, two separate single-family residential parcels, with one of them the plan is to have an ADU, which is able to be approved administratively over the counter under state law by right. Do the additional residential units apply to our RENA number?
I can go ahead and address that. Yes, all 3 units on this subject property will be considered new residential homes. So we will work with the applicant for the affordability component of the ADU. The 2 single-family homes, it is my understanding, will be market rate homes, and so we will get credit for the above moderate income category for both those homes. And then, as I mentioned, we will confirm with the applicant on whether or not the ADU will have some sort of affordability component. If not, we would get a third above market credit because all 3 are considered new units.
Yes, and these were not considered when we were reviewing and considering and approving our housing element for submission to the HCD, correct?
That's correct, but nevertheless, it will serve as credits toward our RENA allocation of 1,908 units.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you. Just to follow up on that question, since we're removing one house, don't we get credit for 2 and not 3?
Yes, by mistake. 2 new homes. The net of 2 new homes.
Okay, thank you. Is there other questions from council at this point? Okay. Do we, under the housing law, have to take the entrance to the property from Artesia Boulevard and move it to the cul-de-sac? Or can we leave it just the way it is in terms of the entrance or egress from the property from Artesia Boulevard? Because I think that is really the crux of the question that, at least one resident, has asked. They didn't phrase it that way, but, they're looking at, the question I had when someone else was looking at the property is that with the ADU, there's really no access to anywhere to park. So they're on the street, and on a cul-de-sac, that end of the street is very, very limited in terms of parking. And with the plans here, with 2 driveways, there's even less room, to park. The people that invested in their homes in that area bought, for a certain look and, and so on. And I'm sure they weren't looking at the law the way it is today and to have 3 units where there's 1 right now with no access, to the, cul-de-sac.
I want to go ahead and refer to City Engineer Dario Samos to answer that question.
Okay, now I want to know, does the law require this?
There is no specific law, to my knowledge, that requires the driveways be accessible through a residential street. However, if one were to notice all the other adjacent streets, no residences front Artesia Boulevard. In terms of a safety concern, it's far safer for vehicles to enter their homes via a residential street versus entering an arterial street. Typically, homes that front arterial streets are seen either as older homes that for lack of a better term, back in the day, never were made as part of a tract housing unit, or are leftover farm residences that still have not been sold off or converted into part of the housing unit. Vehicles in this situation, there's about 270 to 300 feet to the major intersection there. And so vehicles attempting to negotiate entering that driveway, or in this case, 2 new driveways off of Artesia Boulevard, would have a much more difficult time negotiating that term in and out of their residential home versus entering off of Parkvale. It should be noted that all the other cul-de-sac streets within the neighborhood have the same situation in which is proposed tonight. Additionally, your concern, or the residents' concern, I should say, in terms of parking, it should be noted that the one-story residence doesn't have, with the associated ADU, doesn't have a 2-car garage. It has a 3-car garage. So it shouldn't be expected that those vehicles would be parked on the street either overnight or temporarily.
Okay, so you brought up a couple other points, but if I understand state law, they can sell off the ADU, which would then preclude the use of the 3-car garage. Would that not be true?
I unfortunately am not aware of that law. I'd have to refer that to the city.
Okay, I mean, I just read about it during the last 2 weeks.
Would you
Go
like,
ahead.
I can comment on that, Mayor and members of the council, just on the ability for selling off separate ADUs, because when the state law in its modern form was first adopted, it was clear that the ADUs had to remain part of the property and could not be sold separately
Right.
from the primary unit. There was one law that was adopted last year, or took effect last year, that did allow for separate conveyance of the ADU, but only if the entire property was developed by a nonprofit housing corporation that specifically had a covenant restricting the property for affordable uses. There was a law that was just signed by the governor that does allow for a separate conveyance, but it does provide that a city has the authority over whether or not to allow that. In other words, the council would need to adopt an ordinance to allow for that type of separate conveyance to happen. So generally, under state law, whenever the preemption provisions apply for an ADU, the ADU in general still must remain with the primary residence and on that one lot and cannot be separately conveyed.
So in other words, we could put a ordinance in place restricting that based on the fact that part of the garage is to be used for the ADU under testimony tonight.
Well, to clarify, this is new law. It hasn't taken effect yet. But what it does provide is that the new law does provide that a local agency may adopt a local ordinance to allow a separate conveyance of the primary dwelling unit and accessory dwelling unit or units as condominiums. And then there's a litany of requirements that any local ordinance must include.
Okay, but the converse of that would be true, that we could put an ordinance in place that would put restrictions on that.
Well, there would be, the short answer is possibly, because the one item that may come up is anything in state law that would preempt local law on putting in on-site parking restrictions, if there were to be any.
Okay. Now, Dario, the other thing you brought up was the distance from the driveway currently to the intersection being about 300 feet and how unsafe that was. If you just go to the west a little bit to Gridley, go just beyond it, and the same thing off of Shoemaker and 183rd, we have a distance into a cul-de-sac that is roughly 100 feet. 2 locations. One of them is, a little older. One was done while I've been on council. And it was pointed out that there was one piece of land that stopped them from hooking into the inside of the neighborhood, which did eventually become available. We have a whole short cul-de-sac off of Artesia Boulevard right near Gridley that is, under your category, is unsafe. To me, to say that we can't keep that just the same is not true, because it's 300 feet. There's more distance, more time to see, from any direction what's going on. And that's why I was asking. Because, if we were to leave it just the way it is, it's going to be less of an impact on the neighborhood. And to use safety as the defining characteristic, to move it based on the prior action of recommendation of our staff isn't the same. But anyway, I just wanted to share that because I wanted to find out why we were looking at it, because it doesn't really seem to address some other concerns of the residents. Is there any other questions at this point, Chung?
I have a quick question follow-up. Dario, when there's no laws, are you also including no planning or design code that prohibits that type of egress or type of driveway from arterial road? Because I know lots of times when things aren't to code, and then when you do remodels and stuff, you like to bring it up to code. So this is not a code issue, because my concern then is if we allow this to conform to current standards, what's to say other homes that have walls that are arterial streets to knock down their walls and add driveways so that way they can go in and out easier than the residential streets? That just kind of brought it up, my concerns.
If I may, Council Member, in addition to engineering standards or practices, the proposal before you this evening is also in fulfillment of our general plan. The general plan does call for minimizing curb cuts, and this proposal, specifically curb cuts on arterials, this proposal is a continuance of a trend that we've seen in several neighborhoods throughout the community where there was an original home built prior to the development of the tract, and the home remained for several years, and then subsequently it was reoriented inward into the neighborhood. And typically when these neighborhoods were laid out, the design was sort of built in so that at one point in the future, the property could be reoriented inwards. So this is a general plan principle. It's also been the practice in the city over the many years.
Yeah, because we have another resident that's just north of our city hall that the entrance is off of Bloomfield. And, I would like to think that if one day that gets, because the property we're talking about now, I think that's a great property. I've been driving by that property thinking someone has to live in that RV, right? The RV's been parked there for years. But it's nice to see that's being redeveloped, it was purchased, and now redeveloped is something I think is going to add to the aesthetics of that street, and then bring that residential conformity to the neighborhood. My only concern is, like the mayor said, if there's no planning or design code that says, hey, we got to bring it up to code when these older homes are being redeveloped, then that just also means that current residents that have arterial walls, would they be allowed to just say, I want a driveway, to make it more convenient for them? So those are just the issues that I would think might come up. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chung. Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and open to the public for comments.
Mayor, if I will, we have one piece of written correspondence that I would like to read into the record. Written correspondence submitted by the deadline listed on the agenda is considered public record. Prior to the meeting, the council and agency received copies of the full text unredacted written correspondence, which is submitted for this item. Public requests for copies of the full text redacted written correspondence can be made during regular business hours in the Office of the City Clerk Treasurer. We did receive written correspondence from Jennifer Shee expressing concerns regarding traffic, parking, and flooding impacts as related to the subject project. And there was no other written correspondence received, and I do believe we have one public speaker.
Okay, Vita, thank you. And we do have the property owner, Evan Maddie. Is she here? I'm sorry.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Thank you very much for having me. So, a little background on why I actually purchased this property. I work half the time here in Cerritos, right off Moore Court and Ortigia. My sister lives in that same neighborhood. I have two aunts that live in the same neighborhood. I have my offices in Downey, and I live in Downey. A few years back, I got married, have a 2.5-year-old daughter right now. Cerritos prides itself to have amazing schools. I truly want to have my daughter, this was a great opportunity for me to buy this lot, split it, keep one for myself, my wife, my daughter, and my parents to live in the ADU in the back on the single story, and sell off the second unit to whoever is interested in living in this wonderful city. In regards to leaving it on Ortigia, the driveway, I think from the aesthetics and the functionality, you will take away a lot. Having driveways coming from Parkville is safer for me and my daughter. Two, regarding the parking issues, the larger lot that has an ADU, it does have a 3-car garage, but it also has 3 additional parking spots right on the property. The smaller lot has a 2-car garage and 2 additional parking off-site. So there's more than ample parking for both of these properties to exist. And if you look at all the other properties, all the other streets, they have the same amount of homes pretty much as this street is going to have after this project is going to be developed. I personally do not believe that it's going to have a huge impact on a lot of the issues that were brought up. In regards to construction, yes, of course, construction is always construction. There's always going to be noise. And our job is to minimize that as much as possible. And one of the questions that were raised is, can we actually do majority of our construction from Ortigia? Which I think a good chunk of the construction elements can be, after talking to my contractors and my engineers, can be effectively done. So that would pretty much reduce any traffic, construction trucks that are coming in and out of Parkville for most of the construction project. For me, it's more for my family. I'm hoping that by the time my daughter is old enough to go to the elementary schools that are local, that these properties will be built, and we could make Cerritos our home, just like the rest of my sister, my aunts that live within the neighboring streets.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Mr. Maddie, thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the council for this item? Yes.
My name is Jennifer Shi. I wrote these 2 letters. Probably last time I should be here, but I have other appointments. But the reason I have some concern is I sent some photos. There's a family gathering in our neighborhood, and even one neighbor have some party, small family gathering. Our whole block were parked with cars. And I understand this gentleman, they want to be, when they bought this property, they knew this is on the Ortigia Boulevard. It's not facing our area, the Parkville place. And so they bought it, they can still live there, and they want to have 2 houses facing that direction, that's fine. But once they move in, we welcome our neighbors. We cannot say, hey, you cannot park the car here. When there's a party, that's not even holiday. I send a photo attached with my presentations, and it's like the whole street. We cannot even, our driveway were blocked. And outside the Parkwell Street were blocked. And these two houses is much larger than our 12 houses over there. And if somebody said, we will have plenty of parking, I have my question, I have my doubt. And they have a big lot. They can park, if that's by the Artesia Boulevard, they can park whatever they want to park. And there are lots of streets, and there are lots of houses. Our streets exits to the Artesia. It's more dangerous than the house, current house, facing the Artesia Boulevard. I don't think that's a reason to tear down the wall, to disrupt the neighborhood. And the driveway, they are designed, it's much smaller than the other two houses on the circle area. I calculate, one's 43 step, their side is 32 step. Use my step. So the ratio you can calculate is 17% of increase, at least the housing number in our area. So if somebody tell me they will not have impact on our neighborhood, highly doubt. That's my concern. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the council on this item? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comments. I'll look to council for direction.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay,
Excuse me.
Peter, there's a
Excuse me.
motion to approve and second to
Aaron, I have
questions or
a
comments. Go ahead.
Aaron, my screen went to a screen that says agenda link. Please choose seat location. Thank you. It's fixed.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Vita, there is a motion and a second.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Councilmember Vo and seconded by Councilmember Johnson to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation to the City Council to approve 2 resolutions. And I can read the captions on the resolution if so choose, or we can defer to the City Council's pleasure on that. I can read the caption.
Sure.
Thank you. A resolution of the City of Cerritos approving tentative parcel map 84298, a proposal by Cerritos 2 Development LLC to subdivide one existing parcel into 2 separate parcels. The subject property is located at 13730 Artesia Boulevard, Cerritos, California, 90703, and is zoned single-family residential RS 6500 with an APN of 7022-005-031. And waive full reading and adopt a resolution of the City of Cerritos approving Precise Plan 2023-15, a proposal by Cerritos 2 Development LLC to construct a new single-family residential development comprised of 2 lots, one with a new 2-story residence, parcel 1, and one with a new 1-story residence and a detached accessory dwelling unit located in the rear yard, parcel 2. In conjunction with this project, a new 6-foot-high perimeter block wall will be constructed along the north property line, and the new residences will be accessed from driveways off of Parkville Place. Additional improvements including new sidewalks, parkway landscaping, and other related site improvements. The subject property is located at 13730 Artesia Boulevard, Cerritos, California, 90703, and is zoned single-family residential RS 6500 with an APN of 7022-005-031. At this time, a roll call vote will be conducted. Council Agency Member Johnson?
Aye.
Council Agency Member Vo?
Aye.
Council Agency Member Yokoyama?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chair Solanki? No. Mayor and Chair Barrows?
No.
The motion passes by a vote of 3-2.
Okay, Bill, before we move on, with council concurrence, can we bring back potential language about to restrict the sale of the ADU?
Sure, we can bring back proposed language that would ultimately need to be integrated into an ordinance
Right.
on the ADU. And if there's council concurrence, we can certainly address that.
Yes. Yes.
I think you have it. Okay, moving on to the next item would be 9A. Robert?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. This first new and old business item 9A relates to the city's existing participation in a joint powers authority. The presentation this evening will be given by Ms. Aguilar, and she and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. The City of Cerritos is currently an active participating member in Eco Rapid Transit, also known as the Orange Line Development Authority. Over the past several months, Eco Rapid Transit has reported serious fiscal challenges resulting in insufficient funds to support basic operations, impacting the quality of services provided to member cities, including the City of Cerritos. As such, in September, the Eco Rapid Transit Board of Directors directed Eco Rapid Transit staff to begin dissolving the agency, subject to final board approval in December. Prior to the board's formal action of termination in December, Eco Rapid Transit has requested that each member city take separate action by way of resolution to formally withdraw its membership and authorize the termination of Eco Rapid Transit. I'll provide a brief background of the history of Eco Rapid and the action before you this evening. In 2002, SCAG and the Gateway Cities COG initiated a feasibility study for a proposed high-speed maglev technology train line along the former Pacific Electric Metro-owned right-of-way in an effort to connect Los Angeles and Orange counties and to promote regional transportation. In an effort to facilitate the development of the proposed line, which at that time was called the Orange Line, and to use resources from cities along the line, the City of Cerritos, in conjunction with SCAG and the Gateway Cities COG, formed a joint powers authority named the Orange Line Development Authority. At that time, it was established by the city with SCAG and the COG for purposes of planning and obtaining financing and bonds for the proposed project. A total of 21 public agencies joined and over the following 10 years worked to narrow down the project scope. In 2012, the Orange Line Development Authority changed its name to do business as Eco Rapid Transit and, in coordination with SCAG, conducted an alternatives analysis for the operation and use of the Metro-owned right-of-way. The analysis studied alternative modes of transportation in lieu of that high-speed maglev technology. Those modes included light rail, bus, and low-speed maglev. Based on the analysis, Eco Rapid Transit took formal action to move away from the use of maglev technology and instead revised the project scope to utilize low-speed, at-grade light rail. At this time, the project was also renamed by Metro as the West Santa Ana Branch Transit Corridor Project. As a result of the fundamental change in the project scope, in 2014, the city withdrew its membership from Eco Rapid Transit. Nevertheless, the city continued to monitor project activities to ensure that the interests of the Cerritos community were protected. Over the next several years, Eco Rapid Transit served as an advocate and provided support for Metro's West Santa Ana Branch project, with Eco Rapid Transit monitoring project activities to ensure that member cities would not be adversely impacted by that project. As a result, and due to the advocacy for member cities and the interest in continuing to be involved in the project, In 2021, the city reinstated its membership with Eco Rapid Transit. As a member jurisdiction, one representative of the City Council serves on the Eco Rapid Transit Board of Directors and assists with administering the affairs of Eco Rapid Transit. At present, the city's representative is Mayor Bruce Barrows. As mentioned earlier, in February, Eco Rapid Transit reported budgetary constraints and has insufficient funds for general operations and member services. As such, in September, the Eco Rapid Transit Board directed staff to begin the process of termination contingent upon each member city formally withdrawing and authorizing that termination. I did want to note that in the process of dissolving, Eco Rapid Transit has commenced discussions with the Gateway Cities COG, who will form a West Santa Ana Branch Corridor Cities Committee to take over the responsibility of corridor-wide coordination related to planning, advocacy, and the construction of the West Santa Ana Branch project. This proposed committee would include representatives from all member cities of the Gateway COG, including the city of Cerritos. Currently, all Eco Rapid Transit membership dues have been paid by the city with no outstanding balance. Therefore, the termination of Eco Rapid Transit will have no financial impact to the city. If there are future dues associated with that new COG committee, these dues could be wholly funded by the city's restricted Proposition A and C funds with no general fund monies expended for this purpose. This concludes my presentation at this time. It is recommended that the City Council review and discuss the proposed request from Eco Rapid Transit to withdraw the city's membership and formally authorize termination of Eco Rapid Transit, and adopt a resolution formalizing those actions accordingly. At this time, either myself, Mr. Galucci, or Mr. Lopez are available to answer any questions the council may have. Thank you.
Okay, Kristen, thank you for that report. Are there any questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and close and open to public comments. Is there anyone that wishes to address the council at this point? Seeing no one, we'll close public comments. And I will make the motion to withdraw or to terminate, the agency.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a couple seconds. Vita, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Thank you. A motion has been made by Mayor Barrows, and I did hear first a second from Mayor Pro Tem Solanki to waive full reading of and adopt a resolution of the Cerritos City Council authorizing the termination of Eco Rapid Transit, formerly known as the Orange Line Development Authority. At this time, a roll call vote will be conducted. Council Agency Member Johnson.
Aye.
Council Agency Member Vo.
Aye.
Council Agency Member Yokoyama.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chair Solanki.
Aye.
Mayor and Chair Barrows.
Aye.
And the motion passes with a vote of 5-0.
Okay, next up is 9B. Robert, can we get a report?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. This next new and old business item 9B relates to the city's existing loans to our enterprise funds. The presentation this evening will be given by Ryan Carey, and following that, he and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. As Robert mentioned, the item before you this evening relates to the disposition of the outstanding loans that are owed to the general fund by the water and sewer utilities. As you know, these loans began to accrue in 2012 and have amounted to a current outstanding loan balance of approximately $24.3 million between the two utilities. Both the water and sewer enterprises have largely operated in a deficit position since 2012, with the deficit being subsidized through a loan from the general fund. Efforts in recent years to address these deficits through rate increases have fallen short of providing the necessary funding to offset annual operating costs, let alone provide funding for ongoing infrastructure maintenance or to commence repayment of the loans. As part of the effort to address the issue, staff presented a report to the City Council on May 11th that provided a detailed analysis of both the water and sewer utilities and the loan balances that they've incurred. The report also provided some options for the council's consideration to potentially resolve the deficits of both utilities. After discussion, the council provided staff with direction to write off the loan balances of both the water and sewer utilities and to continue to subsidize any future operating deficits with a subsidy from the general fund that would be categorized as an interfund transfer as opposed to a loan. Moving forward, any future deficits would be offset by an interfund transfer, the loan balances would be forgiven, and the water and sewer utilities would not maintain any outstanding balances. Pursuant to the direction provided by the council, staff is presenting the resolution that's before you. The key terms of the resolution relate to the forgiveness of the water utility loan owed to the general fund in the approximate amount of $10.8 million and forgiveness of the sewer utility loan owed to the general fund in the approximate amount of $13.5 million for a cumulative total of $24.3 million in total loan forgiveness. It is staff's recommendation that the loan balances be written off retroactively effective to June 30th, 2023. Using a retroactive date of June 30th will allow for a clean accounting of the loan disposition and will allow the balances to be audited by the city's independent auditor. Accordingly, the actual loan balances that will be written off will be the totals that are disclosed within the city's annual comprehensive financial report that will be forthcoming next month. It's important to note, while we do not anticipate substantive changes to the loan balances that are noted herein, we did want to provide the caveat that the balances are not final until the audit's been completed. In addition to the write-off of the loan balances, the resolution also includes the information that I noted previously, that any future deficits of the utility are to be subsidized by an interfund transfer from the general fund, and that the water and sewer utilities will no longer incur any loan balances commencing with the start of the current fiscal year. Due to their long-term nature and the continuing deficit between the revenue and operating costs from each fund, the loan balances of the water and sewer funds are not anticipated to be repaid in the near future and are therefore classified currently as a non-spendable fund balance in the general fund. Writing off the loans would result in a reduction of that non-spendable fund balance in the general fund for a total amount of approximately $24.3 million. This would also reduce the total fund balance in the general fund by that same amount. It's important to note that a write-off of this non-spendable amount would have no effect on the city's general fund reserve balance. Conversely, forgiving the outstanding loan balance owed to the city by the sewer and water utilities would increase the net position of each utility fund commensurate with the loan amounts being forgiven. This concludes my comments this evening. I'll be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any questions?
I have a question, Mayor. Ryan, thank you. What is the average residential rate for the sewer costs for us here?
The city's annual sewer rate that we charge to our residential customers averages approximately $8 annually. In addition to that, Cerritos residents are assessed on their property tax bill approximately $180 by the county for access to the city's county sewer services.
So that we're not talking about the county, just the city.
Yep.
It's $8 a year. And
right.
Because the reason why I find that interesting is because my son recently just moved out to the city of Riverside and got an apartment. He's a renter, doesn't even own an apartment, but he rents, and he turned on electricity and water, and we didn't know sewer was also part of the city's rates there, and he gets a bill every single month for $25 for the sewer rates for the cities. And so our residents pay $8 for a whole year.
Correct.
And here you have a college student, working part-time, and he has to pay rent. Well, actually, more like dad has to pay rent. But he's required to pay, living in an apartment, in a multi-unit complex, individually are paying $25 for the city of Riverside a month. And, you have to pay it.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show how much our city subsidize our residents when it comes to the sewer rates, and how much it's coming from our general fund to subsidize this. And so thank you for the answer.
Yeah, if I can, I'd add to that by saying that the annual cost for us to operate our sewer utility is roughly $1 million per year. And the revenue that we generate from our user fees is about $90,000. So can do the math on that. We're subsidizing well over 90% of the total cost of the sewer utility for our residents.
Yeah, thank you.
So Ryan, we're subsidizing almost $900,000 a year.
That's correct.
It's just in the sewer.
Yes, sir.
So how about the other, the water?
The water utility subsidy is much less. As you'll recall, we did have a rate increase that took place from 2015 through 2021. It was a 7-year rate increase. And each year annually, we had a 10% rate increase that significantly closed the gap on our deficit. And I think right now we're actually pretty close to breaking even. The issue with that, though, moving forward is that we don't have any escalators in the current water billing rates. And so without future rate adjustments, costs are going to continue to escalate, but user revenue that we generate will remain static. And so we're going to continue to likely start to accumulate a deficit again in the near future.
So Art, I remember a while back we were looking at to see if we can, at least break in and see how much we can escalate for the sewer and the water. What did we do? I don't remember about it.
We did bring back a staff report to the council back in May, where we were seeking the council's direction to move forward with the rate study to kind of comprehensively address and review sewer rates within the region and to come up with a pricing plan that could potentially adjust our sewer fees so that they were closer to at least breaking even instead of providing such a substantial subsidy. And at that time, it was the council's direction to move forward with writing off the loans, based partially on the fact that we do have a substantial general fund reserve of roughly $95 million at this time. And so the council's direction, my understanding of that direction at that time was that they didn't want to entertain any additional consideration of rate increases, and that given the subsidy that we have or the reserve that we have, to continue to utilize a portion of that reserve to offset those costs.
Yeah, but if you don't look at it, though, some of this department, we might evaporate reserve too soon, if you don't look at it, those. So I don't know if it's a council consensus. I'd like to bring that item back again.
Okay, if I can just add another question to it. The discussion that we had, if I remember correctly, is that the surrounding cities like Lakewood doesn't charge anything for sewage because the sanitation district charges. It's on the property tax bill. Right. And I brought that up, and is there any reason we have a charge at all on sanitation district since we're already paying for it through the sanitation district?
Well, we do maintain and operate our own sewer utility, so there are costs associated with that. I would defer to Mr. Lopez and Mr. Simoes for additional information on the actual infrastructure of our sewer utility that would require us to continue to charge for that. But I know that there are connection fees that we have to pay for to connect to the city's, the county's sewer utility. But I defer to Robert and Dario for further info.
Well, on the reclamation plant that we have, it's the sanitation district owns it. We operate it, right? And we sell water from it, so it's a source of revenue.
That's not what Robert says, no.
Okay, no, go ahead and correct me. So,
just to clarify, we do obtain water from the reclamation plant. It is operated by the sanitation district, but we are a major consumer of the water that's produced from the reclamation plant.
Okay, but we do sell water also.
Correct.
To other cities and the.
Yeah, we.
Anyway, the cemetery.
Correct. We do have several customers of our recycled water utility. We're one of a handful of agencies that draw water from the reclamation plant, and we have several customers, including cemetery districts, schools, and so forth, and also our own city facilities.
Okay, so I guess I'm looking for advice. Is that if we, compare, Lakewood's prices, and I agree with what Rich brought up on the water, that part of it. We have to have some kind of a way to naturally increase because as costs go up, our expenses go up, or we're going to go ahead and start losing more and more money on it. But the sanitation district, I still don't quite understand why we're losing so much money when we're paying the amount of money that we're paying to the sanitation district.
Yes, and following that consensus item, earlier this year, staff did reach out to the sanitation district, and we are compiling information to prepare to submit to the city council. In a nutshell, the sanitation district is maxed out as far as what they are able to maintain. They indicated to us that they would not be able to assume any additional scope from the city of Cerritos. So we are at this point, we do have our own sewer utility that we do maintain. I can defer to Mr. Simoes if you would like more information about what we maintain within our sewers as compared to the sanitation district. But in a nutshell, we do have our lines that we maintain. The sanitation district has their main trunk lines that they also maintain.
Okay, but the question then is that if Lakewood is paying X amount of money, and we're paying almost exactly the same amount for the same services from the sanitation district, but they're not providing it to us, and we're doing it through our fee. Why are we paying them the same amount that Lakewood is if we're doing the work ourselves? I mean, something's out of whack here.
Yeah, and we'd like to clarify that and provide that information to the city council in a subsequent report that'll help to illustrate what's provided, what the costs are, to answer that very question.
Yeah, because to me, it looks like we're paying double. Yeah. And if we're losing, roughly 900,000 a year, are we giving 900,000 extra to the sanitation district? Because, Lakewood's providing the same services through the sanitation district for the same money that we're being charged on the property tax bill. So something's not right.
I think one of the factors is that the city of Lakewood doesn't own any of their sewer utilities, whereas the city owns our sewer utilities, and so that's why the county is able to assume all the costs for the operation of the Lakewood utilities. We don't have an agreement with the county to turn over our sewer utilities to them. And as Robert correctly mentioned, the county has indicated to us they don't have the capacity to do that at this point anyways. I obviously wasn't around when the city's sewer utility was formed, so I can't comment on the specifics of how that agreement was made. But I do know that because we own our own sewer utility, there are costs associated with that, whereas Lakewood doesn't own any of theirs. And so the county's costs are what you see on the property tax bills.
But in keeping with the prior council direction, we will come back with information to help illustrate why those costs are the way they are.
I think it'd be helpful. Okay.
That's all. I needed that consent, so we can bring it back.
Yes,
Frank.
yes, please.
Go ahead.
Yes, please. Okay, so so this is a continuing conversation that the city council is having with staff, and going back to May 18, 2000, the city council directed staff to proceed with the commencement of the procedures to hold a public hearing to consider adopting a rate increase, including completion of analysis of sewer rates, development of a rate schedule, and all other processes related to compliance with Proposition 218. So at the previous discussion, when we were talking about the budget, as you pointed out, we had the May 11, 2023 meeting, and the city council directed staff to write off the loan balances and to treat any future funding as a non-reimbursable subsidy. So Ryan, are you saying that staff also took from that meeting of May 11, 2023, that staff is not even working anymore on the development on the commencement of procedures to hold a public hearing to consider adopting a rate increase on the sewer. That's what staff took from the meeting on May 11, 2023. Don't even stop working on rate increases on the sewer. The only thing that staff has been working on since May 11, 2023 was today's agenda report to write off the loan balances, treat future funding by the general fund to the water and sewer funds as a non-reimbursable subsidy, and it's up to the city council to give any direction about sewer rates going forward.
Right. As I mentioned in my presentation, the report that we provided back in May was coming to the council seeking direction to potentially move forward with research and a study to assess our sewer and water utility rates to get direction from the council to move forward with that. We provided a comprehensive overview of both the water and sewer utility and the status of the fund balances therein. And upon completion of that presentation and the discussion of the city council, the direction that we received from the council at that point was to move forward with writing off the loans. And the direction that I understood was that there was no interest in moving forward with consideration of additional rate increases.
Okay, and I'm clarifying and understanding where staff is right now with the policy direction, with the direction that city council has given. You know, because back in May 18, 2020, we expressly wanted to move forward with staff working to increase sewer rates. And as you pointed out, when we brought this up before the May 11, 2023 meeting, you explained that the pandemic kind of pushed that back, staff looking into the rate increase.
That's correct.
So when we finally had an agenda report about this on May 11, 2023, it ended up just being limited to how to treat the loan balances.
That's what ultimately occurred, yes.
Yeah, so it's up to this city council to make express decisions now on increasing rates for water and sewer. Right now, staff isn't working on that.
Yes, that's correct. As you mentioned, we did come back to the council with that report in May. As you correctly mentioned, the pandemic pushed back any efforts that we had to potentially increase rates. The timing didn't seem like appropriate with people out of work and suffering during the pandemic, so we didn't move forward with it at that time. We came back again in May to revisit the issue and ultimately present the information that was provided at that meeting. And again, we were seeking direction about potentially moving forward with reviewing the rates and potentially increasing them to put ourselves in a position where we're breaking even at least. And ultimately, again, like I said, the direction that we received from that council meeting that evening was to write off the loans and that there was no interest to move forward with rate increases.
No, I don't think, Ryan, that's true. I think there was an interest and he's supposed to bring the report back to us. That's what the understanding, my understanding is.
If I may, Mayor, members of the City Council, we would appreciate direction this evening on any interest in moving forward with any potential rate increases. If there's a consensus direction or any other direction, we'd be happy to get that clarified from the council this evening so we can bring back any items at the council's pleasure.
Well, certainly, let me make an attempt to say when we approve the agenda item.
Well, yeah, we'll approve item 9B.
Yeah, it's to bring back another agenda item dealing with potential water rate increases separately. Because as has been pointed out, it's a minor adjustment, from what Ryan said, they're close. But we have to have a way to keep up with inflation. And then the third, Robert, you've already addressed the part about the sewer, response, that's still coming. And that you're hopefully getting close to responding with what's going on at the sanitation district, what our options are. And Bill, that may involve litigation. if we have to, to find a way to, to force this issue with the sanitation district itself. But I'll put that motion out there to cover those 3 items.
I'll second that.
Comments?
I just have a question for
No, we already had
clarification.
public comments. Yes.
So from what I understood from the meeting, Ryan, and correct me if I'm wrong, was that the council was not interested in water rate increases or any sewer rate increases as well. And that's why the consideration of just, getting rid of the loan. Is that correct?
Yes,
That was,
No.
wasn't that the discussion that evening? That
right.
there was no desire of the council, of any of us to increase?
Yeah, my understanding of the discussion was that in addition to the deficit that we're facing in the utilities, we do have these substantial loan balances that are being accrued in both the water and sewer utilities. And the direction I took from the meeting that evening was that there was no interest in essentially increasing the rates to potentially recover the loan balances.
Correct.
And so that was the direction that I took, was to write off the loan balances in their entirety, essentially start from scratch. That's not to say that we can't write the loan balances off now and look at options to increase the rates and adjust the rates moving forward so that we don't have to continue to subsidize through the general fund. But the report that I have tonight is just addressing the loan balances.
That's how I recall it. Thank you.
No, my recollection was you're exactly correct on the balance.
I remember that was like a budget hearing.
Balance, I remember right off. But
And the other part is that when we were waiting to find out about the sanitation district, which Robert addressed, and I believe that's correct. The water, I don't believe we gave direction on that part because it was closer, and the difference between the balance, what it was, and the subsidy was very minor, as was explained. And that might have been on our part by not really clarifying exactly the direction that we should look at addressing the minor part of it in a positive manner. And, here we are looking at it a little bit further and the amount's growing by a little bit. And it's something that we should do, and that's why I made the motion to address the 3 items separately. So we very positively taking a look at the balance, because I think we were unanimous to get rid of that part. And we didn't want to keep adding to it with, the interest, being piled on it and compounding on it. The water was minor, and the sanitation part, to me, is a very significant issue.
Are you,
Go ahead.
I think I agree with your motion. You want the city and staff in the city council to understand what's going on with the sanitation district before we consider sewer rates.
Correctly.
Okay.
That's correct.
That sounds great.
Because we don't have enough information to take any action on it. We
That
already
sounds great.
took action.
Okay, thank you.
Based on what Robert had reiterated.
It sounds like we want to look at a possible alternative before we look at rates, meaning the sanitation district should be.
It's a separate discussion right at this point,
You're
and
absolutely-
it's wide open. I don't have a clue, except for it looks like we're being charged twice.
Yeah, I'd like to look into that as well before we start looking at the fees.
That's
I
why.
think that way
that's why-
I think we'll have a better understanding of where we need to go.
That's why I broke it down into 3 pieces.
3 different ways.
I agree.
Okay, so I believe we have a motion and a second. Bill?
Actually, if I could, Mayor, members of the council, just to keep the item straight, because we do have the one agenda item dealing with the write-off of the loans. But I'm hearing, I think it really is a consensus to bring back at a subsequent meeting the study of the costs related to our sewer and the sanitation district's interplay, and bring that back before then we have an analysis and present that to the council, and then get feedback after that on whether or not any rate increase or procedures would be
All I
merited.
was doing is putting a motion for the sake of
Let's just approve this item first,
It's
maybe.
not a consensus item. It's just that this is the direction we want to go. One, approve staff report.
9B.
As written. Two, we want to direct staff.
Okay.
As part of the motion
So
to
it's
bring
part
back
of-
the
so-
water, to bring back part on the water. And we already have coming back based on staff, report tonight that the sanitation part is moving forward and is going to come to us shortly.
Okay. So the motion will be,
Three
it does
parts.
include 9B, the recommended action on 9B, correct?
Right. Number two is bring back a water rate adjustment to eliminate the deficit that we have, various options. And three, continue with and bring back the sanitation
Sand district.
district information.
Got it.
So it's all on the same topic, under the same umbrella.
Understood. And the maker of the motion,
We have a motion on the floor by Mayor Barrows and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Solanki.
That's correct.
And this time, I'm sorry.
did we take public comment?
I
on this
don't think
item?
so.
Yeah,
No.
if we need, let's
Should just
make
open it
sure
back.
that
We
we
did. I thought we did. Okay,
No.
we'll open for public comments and then reinstate the motion.
9B.
Okay, is there anyone that wishes to address the council on this item? Okay, I got a shrug, but no. Okay, we'll close public comments, and the motion is restated.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Mayor Barrows and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Solanki to approve the resolution of the City Council directing the astounding enterprise fund loan balances owed by the water and sewer funds to the general fund be written off, and further directing that any future funding provided by the general fund to the water and/or sewer funds be classified as a non-reimbursable subsidy, and direct staff to bring back water rate adjustment options to address the deficit, and additional information on the services rates provided by the sanitation district. We will come back and listen to the tape and make sure that it is properly memorialized, but is that sufficient for the maker of the motion and the
Certainly.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Okay, Ryan, is that okay from your side? And Robert
At this
and
time.
Dario? I want to get all my three bases covered here.
Absolutely.
And we will make sure that it is memorialized appropriately for the record. At this time, a roll call vote will be conducted. Council and Agency Member Johnson?
Aye.
Council and Agency Member Vo?
Aye.
Council and Agency Member Yokoyama?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chair Solanki?
Aye.
Mayor and Chair Barrows?
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0.
Okay, next up is 9C. Robert?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. This last new and old business item 9C relates to a voting delegate. The details of the presentation will be given by Ms. Barone, and she and Mr. Urke and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. This item is before the council tonight for consideration of selecting a voting delegate and alternate, if desired, to represent the city and cast the city's vote at the upcoming National League of Cities Annual Business Meeting to be held on Saturday, November 18th, 2023, as part of the National League of Cities 2023 City Summit. This year's summit will be held in Atlanta, Georgia. The city's voting delegate and alternate must be registered for the summit and able to be present in person at the Saturday business meeting in order to serve in those capacities. This concludes my report, and I will return the item to the City Council for questions, discussion, and prior to making their action on this item, public comments will need to be opened. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to point out that I'm unable to attend. And I want to point out if anybody hasn't bought tickets to go, the National League of Cities just sent out a thing saying that you can get a round trip air ticket on Spirit Airlines for $155, which is just an excellent price. Anyway, are there any questions of staff on this item?
I have a question. Do we have any council members registered or have indicated they would like to attend?
I'm registered for this conference.
Do any of
Okay.
you plan on attending?
I think all we have is Frank.
Then I would like to nominate Frank.
But you might do that after public comments, though. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to address the council on this item? Seeing no one, we close public comments. Linda, you made a motion to nominate Frank.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Councilmember Yokoyama to be the voting delegate. He's attended several National League of Conferences.
Okay, I'll go ahead and second the nomination. Is there any other nominations? Okay, Frank, I think you're it, but we'll go ahead and have a vote, unless you just want to do it by, here no objections, so ordered.
It's at your pleasure.
Okay, we'll do that. Frank, you're it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next. Are there any legislative items? And by the way, I understand there's 57 housing bills that were signed by the governor. Are we aware of any impact on Cerritos from those 57?
Thank you, Mayor. If I may address, and I can also defer to Mr. Urke, but we actually are signed up for a webinar in the next couple of weeks hosted by the California League of Cities to go over the amount of legislation that was adopted and understand impacts on our cities. But I'll defer also to Mr. Urke for any particular updates.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just to reiterate what Robert says, the league will be having its annual summary of all the bills that were signed, and the housing bills will be included in that. We've been monitoring some. To answer your question, not entirely sure if any specifically will affect Cerritos that much more than any other city, but we will be looking for that when we go through the summaries.
I
And
don't
bring
like-
that back to the council.
Yeah, I don't like the part more than any other city. It's a bad qualifier. Okay. Next on reports from our city managers. Yeah, current and appointed.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and council members. Our city staff will have an event planned for staff with our outgoing city manager, Art Kuchi. But I would just like to publicly, on behalf of all of our city employees, thank Mr. Gallucci for his many years of dedicated service to the city. He's been an outstanding leader for all of us, and I'm proud, as all of us are here, to have served under his leadership these many years. So thank you, Mr. Gallucci. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Chung, we'll start with you on reports.
I'm going to be short. I haven't done much in the last 2 weeks, so.
Well, you are short. You can't stand up tall right now. Okay.
Thank you,
Naresh?
Mayor. Nothing to report.
Okay, Frank?
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to start off by thanking the City Council and my colleagues for this special City Council meeting today, where our city of Cerritos recognized Filipino American History Month. So thank you to my colleagues. Just like it's been recognized nationally, we are recognizing it here in our diverse city of Cerritos that is welcoming to any and all residents and visitors. You know, for example, on Monday, I attended at Leal Elementary School their Filipino American History Month performances, and I was proud to know that just like our city was recognizing Filipino American History Month, our schools are also celebrating Filipino American History Month. And as mentioned by one of the community members that we presented the proclamation to Filipino American History Month, Ms. Ellen Rodriguez Swing, president of the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Cerritos, she shared with us that they're having their annual induction ceremony here in our city at the Sheraton Cerritos. So more and more people are finding out how wonderful it is to be a resident of Cerritos or a visitor of Cerritos, and specifically with regard to Filipino American History Month, what a robust Filipino community we have with regards to our residents, our visitors, our business community. So that's the number one thing I'm going to remember and take away from tonight's meeting, that our city council recognized Filipino American History Month. Thank you to the city council. Thank you to the staff. Thank you to the residents. Thank you to everyone who joined us in the meeting today, whether in person or watching. Thank you.
Okay.
On October 13, I attended the Cerritos Artesia Rotary Club event that recognized first responders from the Cerritos Sheriff Station, an Artesia deputy assigned to the Lakewood Station, and a firefighter paramedic from Station 30. So congratulations to Deputy Alvin Tompkins, Deputy Arturo Ruvalcaba, and firefighter paramedic Anthony Wilborn for their service to our community. On October 19th, there was an active shooter training at Cerritos Mall. Thank you to Captain Strong and to Daryl Evans for putting together this very important training for our mall tenants and also for our patrons at the mall. And on October 25th, I attended the burial of our former Property Preservation Commissioner, Grandmaster Chan Young Kim at Rose Hills. He will always be remembered for his wisdom, his integrity, and for the many lives that he has touched. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Linda. I'd like to ask council concurrence. I had a talk with Patricia Layla earlier, and we've done mid-year adjustments for the COLAs for our employees. We're at the end of our third year of a 3-year contract, and I'd like to take one thing off the table a little bit, trying to play catch up. And currently, if I understand it correctly, inflation is running at about 3.7% for the year. And our personnel department said that they could address this by December 1st, for our employees. And then we start negotiations with our, union members in January? So this would just take one whole thing off to allow us, to adjust and deal with, the actual needs, and current issues that may be there. And if I can get council concurrence to address the 3.7% as we have done mid-year for the last 2 years, make this the third, and last time for this contract.
So you want to bring the agenda report, right? You want to bring agenda report or?
No, it's a 3.7%. That's the current rate. I asked our staff to look at it. It's what's being reported currently, for the year up to this date, just to go ahead and make that adjustment.
What is that going to impact our budget? How much is it going to impact?
It's going to be very nominal, to be quite honest, but
We're going to get a report back on that, Bruce?
we could.
It's a report back, right?
But I'm just trying to give our personnel department enough time to deal with it instead of, before it just drags out for months.
I concur.
Okay.
Okay, so in other words, I think what I'm hearing from one side is, how about if we had a memo just saying what that amount is?
I'm a little confused what you're asking for. Are you asking to give our staff 3.7% immediately, or are you asking for a report?
No, I'm asking for 3.7% on December 1st.
On December 1st, like give them a 3.7 raise on December 1st.
Based on the COLA that's incurred for the LA region, the greater LA region, year to date.
Mayor, that sounds like that would need to be an agenda item for something for the council to consider and take action on.
That'd be fine.
But it could be by consensus to bring it back.
Okay, well, let's do
Well,
that then.
I agree. I'd love to hear a report back on it, but thankful for you bringing that up. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so,
So I
then
can
my
recap-
consensus is trying to address your thing, and Bill, to bring it back at our next meeting.
So it will be agenda's item, right?
Yeah,
Okay. That's what I said.
okay.
Bill,
I think we have concurrence for, to make an agenda item.
and I concur, but Bill, you're saying that it's required, it's an agenda item, or you're recommending that it's an agenda item?
Required, because if there were to be action to do that, it would need to be on an agenda and posted in accordance with the Brown Act for that type of action to be taken.
Okay, so when are we bringing it back, Bruce?
Next meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no other business, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. And Art, thank you.